Hey, Nigeria.
Hi, Nandi. Fucking laugh. Stop.
So we're here. You're turning 32.
Yes.
And how does that feel before we get started? How does it feel turning 32 or approaching turning 32?
It's a great feeling, but it's also a weird feeling. I feel like 32 is like a big ass age, but it's still so young, I guess, in like the world's eyes. But it's like for us, it's like, bro, like I'm pretty sure we could still vividly remember what being 16 feels like. So like,
definitely.
Just like 32 just sounds like a big ass age, and it's like, okay, what's next? So that's how I feel.
A lot of people are scared to enter their 30s, but like when you entered it, how do you feel?
I feel, well, there's like two different aspects, right? Like one aspect is like, oh fuck, I'm 30 years old, everything starts hurting. Like your legs start hurting, everything starts hurting. And like you always want to lay down and sleep, but then another part of it is like, oh, I'm 30, like this is like, I'm responsible now.
Yeah.
Like there's no more 20-year-old mistakes and like things like that. Like your 20s is your years to kind of like, fuck shit up, figure shit out, throw shit at the wall. Even like now, but like it's much more like in your 30s you have to be much more intentional with everything you do because like you're a full-on adult and like a lot of things depend and ride on what you do and what you decide every day.
Yeah, 30 you have to be like intentional.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, let's get into these questions. We were just talking off camera about people maybe not knowing your full story. They like see you on the internet and they see you like launching this brand, but they don't know everything that you put into the brand. So first question is, as we're reflecting on 31, what's the biggest lesson you learned at 31?
Biggest lesson I learned at 31 is and I pretty much always knew this lesson, but I feel like it resonated the most at 31. And it's this quote that I heard once, and it's fix things before they fix you. And I feel like, you know, a lot of us, obviously there's things that we go through every day and we have problems. And, you know, sometimes it is easy to put those problems to the side or like think about it later or say, oh, like I can't deal with this right now. And it's like I can't deal with this now is a watch when I catch you later, right? And that's how your problems think of, like just how you think I'm gonna deal with this later, like your problems, like watch how I pop back up later. And then even like speaking about 30 and like now being 31, it's more so like, yeah, like there's not things like, you don't just have kid problems, like you probably have real world problems, like whether you're running a business, whether you're at a corporate job, whether you're raising a family or have bills, like these are real world problems. And it's like, you can't just put them on the shelf or say like, I'm not dealing with these now. You know, and it's like, because if you do, like all those things that come right back to like haunt you. Avoiding. Times 10. So yeah, just not like avoiding things.
I was gonna say, avoiding is like never the answer. What was the hardest moment you faced this past year?
Hardest moment I faced this past year for me, I think would have to be like, I guess navigating a business navigating and scaling a business while dealing with grief. I feel like for me, like I've definitely dealt with a lot of grief, especially with like in the last year, from like close friends that like passed away, whether it been like natural causes or like due to like unnecessary circumstances. I think for me it was a lot, because like 8 people I knew last year passed away. One of them was my line brother, one of them was my stepmom, one of them was one of my frat bros that actually like did my letter of recommendation for me to join the fraternity that I'm in. And like we were friends since like high school. So it was just kind of heavy, and it's like, I feel like while trying to, you know, still show up every day, have a team, like smile, and come on, let's keep it going. And even not people that just passed, also like grieving and mourning, like, you know, friendships and relationships of people that's here, you know, like people that like we no longer see eye to eye or we're not aligned. And, you know, I feel like we do so much great things in our life, but nobody ever like factors in or balance out like, okay, like there's actually a lot of other shit going on too.
Definitely. How did shifting team dynamics change your perspective?
A lot. You know, I think you and I were talking about this earlier, where it's like, I think when like starting out a like business or starting out a brand or company, I feel like a lot of us is always like, when I get on, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and like a lot of us, we bring in friends, we bring in like people that we're close with, or people that we think could do jobs, or you know, people that can do like jobs. But I think everybody has a like cap, and they have a threshold, and especially for me, for a lot of entrepreneurs, I always want us to be more intentional with knowing like, okay, just as fast as you like hire, like you got to be able to like do that just as fast, and like just knowing what your brand and what your business needs at the like time.
Yeah.
Because that's super and like important. Like you may not always need like somebody in like social or somebody in the like studio as much as you need somebody to like help you with operations or to help you with like customer service or you know things like that. And it's like you really have to know what your company and your brand needs at that time, or else it's gonna be stagnant, or it's just gonna stay in the same place, and you're gonna like spiral out or not love it no more, you know. So
yeah, no, definitely. What did you prove to yourself in 2024?
What did I prove to myself in 2024? I proved that I can do hard things.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
So I feel like, you know, like I've always been like you know, I got this, but like I feel like, you know, a lot of us, like the world is just like, it's very tense right now, you know, like with everything going on, like everything. And once again, like it's hard to like focus or navigate or like even like celebrate yourself sometimes in these moments, because it's like you just never know. Like it's so much up and down. It's like one day like you're just happy as hell, the next day is like something tremendously like tragic happens, you know. But like being able to like wake up every day, like no matter how I'm feeling, still getting up, still getting to it, treating my last day like my first day. And there's never really any last days because it's still going, but like, you know, every day just like, bro, if I don't do this, nobody else is gonna do this. So like still proving that like I can still do hard stuff and like do it better also, you know?
Yeah. What moment from Tears' 10-year anniversary meant the most to you?
Partnering with Alpha Industries.
Yeah, that was cool.
I think that was by far like the best moment, because for us, like our first tier jacket ever was on the Alpha Industry Blink. And I'll never forget like going to this store, AD Greek in Queens. And I used to buy the blinks from AD Greek for like $100, and they would like embroider tear on like back of it for like $20. And a jacket, we ended up selling a jacket for $150. So you do a $30 profit, and that's not including like marketing and like shipping and stuff like that. Like we made $0 off all of those jackets, but the jacket was so fire, and like everybody still loves the first like tier jacket ever, like to this day. So for 10 years later, you know, to have a full-blown like partnership with Alpha Industries, and like they produced the jackets for us, and it's just beautiful. Hopefully we're able to like do like a larger range, because for this one we did like friends and family. Yeah. Hopefully we're able to do like a larger range of like items and jackets soon, but like it was definitely like a wow, like this is a moment where you know you made it, when like you started off with something and like it's circling back 10 years later.
Yeah, and now you're like working with that brand.
Right.
How did you approach to business? Oh, sorry. How did your approach to business evolve over the last year?
I think my approach to business has evolved in the sense of, I'm not gonna lie, like this, like I've definitely struggled with like approaching certain things, especially within the last year or two, just because once again, like everything is changing. Like social media is changing, the way people receive and like gauge what content is changing, and you know, a lot of it is, for lack of better words, like more so things that I'm not necessarily comfortable. Like, you know, like a lot of people like overshare on social media. Yeah. Or they like really get into like the grits and glams of like what they're doing in back of the scenes. And I'm all for showing process, but it's like, at what point is this just too much? And I feel like I've just been trying to figure out the balance of like showing more of the process, showing more of who I am, what the brand is, things like that, while still staying true without doing like the trends or like the just everything that, you know, like brands are doing now to like try to stay relevant on social media. And I think that's the way I'm like evolving, is making systems I like around that, where it's like, you know, where I feel like there's a way to do everything. Like everything can always be good or everything can always be corny. It's like how you do it. So just trying to figure out what my approach is to that. And I think a good formula is coming along. I
think so too. How has your perspective on friendships and relationships changed?
Wow. Perspective on friendships and relationships. I feel like more than ever now, like I truly value genuine friends. Yeah. Especially in this era of, I think, what I like to call it is like commercialized friendships, where it's like, you know, like everybody has like all these industry friends or friends that they know from social media or like things like that. And I've been blessed enough to like have a lot of friends that I've had from like child, where it's like I like me personally, I know a lot of people, but like people I hang out with every day, like it's people that I've been hanging out with since I was a teenager. And like for me, like that's where I find like solace at, where it's like, okay, like I'm with my people. But even now, where it's like I don't really go out to really make friends, but for me, if I am making friends, it's like it has to be like beneficial, and not beneficial where like I need something from you, need something from me, but it's like we need to be able to like pour into each other, or just bring ease to people's life. Like I don't think I'm in a space now, and never want to be in a space where like I'm making somebody like harder, or like making them like second guess, you know. So I think friendships for me now has to be way more and like intentional. And honestly, no op shit. I'm not accepting no op shit. I'm not accepting no.
I mean, I feel like when you get older, you have boundaries and you just don't put up with a lot.
Yeah, and I think it's like I always like more than ever recently, I say if I fall out with somebody right now, like I don't care to be somebody's friend again. And it's not that I like, you know, like I dislike you or like, you know, like I can still feel like give and everything else, but I'm just not in this space to remake friends, if that makes sense, you know.
What's one thing you wish you handled differently?
One thing I wish I handled differently. That's actually a good one. One thing I wish I need some context, maybe.
So what's one thing you wish you handled differently this year, or like in being 31?
One thing I wish I handled differently was, I guess, the way I approached going through like pain. I feel like for me, I'm very much I don't like to burden people. So like I deal with a million things by myself before I ever ask somebody like for advice, for help, for anything. And I'm learning that that's not always the best thing. Yeah. But even like physical pain, like I was dealing with sciatica, and for me, it just made me want to stay in bed all day and want to sleep. And because, you know, like anybody who's ever had it or is experiencing it, they know like it's hard to walk, it's hard to sit, it's hard to lay down. And it just makes you just want to stay in place. And ironically, the cure to it is moving. Because like now I do yoga a lot, like I'm on a treadmill, I'm walking, I'm running, and like the pain goes away. Like it goes away, and sometimes it goes away for weeks, you know. But your natural thought to it is to rest your leg. Or to like apply some type of like heat or compression, or take a painkiller, when it's like, nah, like that saying like movement is medicine is like actually a thing. Obviously I'm like doing it now, but I wish I like approached it better sooner. But yeah.
I love that. What was the most unexpected blessing of 31?
Going to the White House. Easily.
I love that.
I feel like, and plus I got invited to the White House 4 times. Like that shit was crazy. Yeah. The first time I went was actually this time last year. It was around my birthday. I was the first invite. They were doing like a Black History Month round on the table there. The second time they were doing something for Juneteenth, I didn't get a chance to go. But I did go for the Black Excellence Brunch in September. Then they had something for Christmas again. I guess they let families like tour the White House and stuff. But I wasn't going back to DC again. I'm like,
I've got the fourth invite.
DC'd out. I'm like, thank y'all, because bro, people don't
I mean,
get
that's
an
so cool.
invite to the White House once in their life. So it's like, I'm just glad that it happened, especially during that time with that like administration, because we also don't know if that's ever going to happen again. Especially for like people like us, like people of color, right? So it was definitely a like beautiful moment and something to soak in, and
What's the one thing that kept you going when things got overwhelming?
My siblings, for sure.
I feel like I knew you were gonna say
it's always because like I'm the oldest. Like I was like, if I don't figure shit out,
what's gonna happen?
Like what's going to happen, literally. And like everybody knows, like I was like, you know, like my mom passed when I started college. My dad is around, but you know, like my dad just lost his stepwife. I mean, lost his wife, which is my stepmom. And it's like, it's weird because like they both passed similar ways. Like it was both cancer, you know? So for me, it's like, it's always just my siblings. It's like my mom and like the thoughts that she would have. Cause I know she's looking down proud, and just how like she would feel seeing me now. And then lastly, but also, and like importantly too for me, it's like, I really do feel like I have a lot to contribute and offer this world. And it's like, even when I'm like, fuck all of this, it's like, nah, bro, like I have way too many ideas and I work way too hard to like let anything stop what I'm trying to do. So.
Yeah. How did your relationship with yourself shift in the last year?
I grew more in love with myself, which is crazy to believe because I always feel like I've loved myself. Like I'm not a person that I've never been a self-doubtful person. I've never looked at myself and been like, oh, you lack this and you lack. I've never done that. But on the opposite side, it's like, that could also be a mask to people, where it's like a lot of times, like what I did realize is there's a such thing as like a false sense of confidence. And that's when like a lot of people don't take the time to sit with themselves and like really learn the work. And I got a lot of time to sit with myself, you know, and a lot of time to sit with myself and like learn things and unlearn things and be okay with things and just like really work and navigate my life, you know, like still was waking up, doing what I gotta do, but a lot of it was spent in like me just figuring out like, what is this version of me, right? Because there's also an aspect of me where it's like, and it really started when I was 29, turning 30, where I was like, okay, like what does like the 30s look like for me? Where it's like, by 29, I accomplished damn near all my childhood goals. And I remember, you know, I had just moved to LA at that time, and we opened up the Tier LA store and stuff like that. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck else is there for me? Like, I done been in like every magazine that I've ever wanted to be in as a kid. Like, all my favorite people done wore the brand, and like, we getting sales all throughout like the US and overseas. And it's just like, when you're a child from the projects and you grow up in the hood, and it's like, bro, you know, like most people from there can't even fathom like what this looks like or feel like. And then you get there and it's like, you know, you got there because of the motivation you had to get out of the space. But now it's that second layer of like, you've accumulated all these things, you've done all of these things, how do you get out of that space? Because none of that really matters no more. Like, while you're grateful for that, it's like, features, placements, none of that, like none of those things equivalent to like a peace of mind or equivalent to like who you are going to be moving forward, you know? And I think for me, it's that, it's like, okay, like who am I going to be like moving forward?
Definitely accolades don't correlate to having a peace of mind.
But unfortunately, a lot of people do correlate those things, or they think that like,
once you get this,
because you have all these accolades, that it makes your life easier. Right.
And it actually makes it more complicated.
And it makes it more complicated because not only do you have to keep up with certain things, like it's the pressure of keeping up. It's like, you also have to make sure you're doing what you're doing, because now now you're in the like limelight for a lot of things.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
What's something you had to unlearn at 31?
Something I had to unlearn at 31 is everybody doesn't need a pep talk. I say that because I have been a person where I feel like every time somebody comes to me with a issue, I'm always the figure it out friend. Like, all right, let's see what we're gonna do to like get past this. Let's plan this out. Let's do this. And you know, what I've learned is that like everybody doesn't need that. Some people just want to vent. Some people just want to like just get things out to you specifically. And naturally, people learn things when they are meant to learn them. Whereas like you could spend 4 or 5 years telling somebody the same thing, and they can know it too. But until they feel like they're ready inside, like you could talk to you blue in the face. Like they can understand also till they're blue in the face, but it's not until they're ready to like do something that's actually gonna change. Even like me, like there's times where like I would know something for so long, but the thought of acting on it versus the thought of knowing it seems so far away from each other. It just makes you like, what's going on, right? So yeah, just not giving people pep talks and let people process things at their own time, because when you also, aside to that, it's like when you take on everybody's problems, it's just, like it's too much, especially when you're dealing with your own. And it's like, I feel like I've definitely been a person where it's funny because a few people in the past have told me where it's like, you like projects, you like working on things, you like, and I'm like, do I? But like I realized like, yeah, like I actually do. And it's like, it's okay to not always have something to work on. You know, whether that be work or like trying to do it to people, so.
Yeah, I agree. If you could describe 31 in one word, what would it be?
31 in one word was eye-opening.
And you can't say anything else. No explanation, one word. All right, so we're gonna move into just how you're feeling as you're approaching like the last few days of being 31 and, you know, coming on to being 32. How are you feeling right now as you approach 32? Like, what's your vibe right now?
I feel surprisingly calm. I feel like, you ever seen that meme of like somebody just swinging outside and the whole, everything in back is on fire?
Yes.
I feel like that's like the epitome of like a Pisces. Like you just sitting there happy as fuck and everything is on fire. But no, I feel calm and I feel like it's like a like pot of water that's waiting to like boil up. Like that's how I feel. And it's like, I got some heat coming. Like I'm chilling. Like,
like you know
like I know I'm heating up. Like I know something is coming, you know. And I've also just been working on like so much things. Like I've been using like, you know, like one thing about me, like I like to use my time wisely. So like even when I feel like I'm being idle, it's like, what's the most I can get done in this like idle time?
Yeah,
so
makes sense. What does peace look like for you today?
Good conversations, good people. I found that like within this past year, some of my best moments has been just talking to some of my friends where it's like, you just never know like the space you're in or the space they're in, and like somebody could say one word, like it doesn't even have to be a sentence, one word and what they're saying could like rewire your whole like thinking and your whole like frame of like how you're processing stuff, right? And I think being able to have like honest and open conversations with people who genuinely care about you, right? Because it's like, also you just don't want to talk to any and everybody. But having like raw conversations with people that care about you, like it brings like a lot of peace, because one, it does like, it leaves you not feeling like you're by yourself, but then the other aspect is like you feel like you've released something into the world.
I love that. What's one thing you're actively healing from?
One thing I'm actively healing from, I would say like survivor's remorse, or like survivor's guilt, where it's just like I spent a lot of time trying to overcompensate, I would say.
Yeah.
A lot of time trying to overcompensate because I feel like, oh, like I made it and I did this and I did that and I need to like do X, Y, and Z to make it feel a certain way, you know? And it's like, naturally myself, I know like bro, I do shit for people who would never say it a day in my life, like every day. And it's like, I need to understand that some of my wins are just for me, and some of my wins are just for like, just to process, you know, like, and I feel like I spent a lot of times like taking every win and like celebrating it as groups, or taking wins and like just throwing it inside of, okay, well, what's like next, right?
Yeah.
And a part of that, I blamed it on like not wanting to feel like I was being kind of like placing. A part of it I blamed on, you know, oh, the world is hurting. Let me not show like the things that are happening, because even if I post I'm on a beach, the beach could be far rockaway. People think I'm living the best life in the world.
It's like you have to watch what you post because of the things that are happening in the world, or you feel like you have to.
Yeah, exactly. So,
how do you define success for yourself in this season of life?
So for me at this season in life, every day I have a checklist of like the things I need to do, and I've been like prioritizing like what's the most important to the least important. But I go about my day by the most I get done inside of a day, and that's not just on my checklist for like work. It's like personally, like did I like meditate today? Did I make sure I have my tea and like get my yoga in? Did I exercise? All of those things, and I literally give my score. I literally give myself a score out of 10. So it's like, if today is a 5 out of 10, well, tomorrow gotta be better.
Tomorrow's gotta be a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, and I think that like really helps, and it like keeps it light too.
Yeah.
It keeps it light. It's not like too much pressure. It's well, today you gotta
whatever, yeah.
So you got a 7 out of 10, figure it out tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
I totally understand that. What are you most grateful for at this moment?
I'm grateful for people who genuinely get it.
Yeah.
And I'll always be grateful for people who genuinely get it. Like there is, you know, not so many, there's a select handful of people, you know, you're one of them. That like, bro, it don't matter when y'all talk, how y'all talk, it's just like they understand what you're going through in life, where you at, able to give you real solid advice, make you laugh, talk about serious shit too, but like it's just a range. And I feel like I've always been a person that values like range and depth, whether it be in relationships or like friendships, and a lot of things is just surface level, which also makes me just not want to talk to people or not want to like go places or do certain things. So I really like, you know, like definitely people that I've just been able to have like those moments with, like that's it for me.
Okay. What's one small daily habit that's making a big impact on your mindset?
Meditation, 100%.
Yeah.
This year makes 5 years.
Ooh, okay.
And it's so crazy because I remember when I started in September of 2020.
And during the pandemic.
Yeah, I started right after the Tier Fashion show that we did.
I remember that. I was like,
3D screen one, yeah.
That was so nice. It was big.
And I literally went to LA for like 2 weeks after, just to unplug, yeah. And I started meditating during that time, and I haven't stopped since. So literally every day. So
how do you balance ambition with personal well-being?
Present day, I understand that they go hand in hand.
Hand in hand, yeah.
Because I was definitely a person where it's like, I'm just gonna work. And it's like, nah, bro, I done been hospitalized for like overworking. I done like felt sleep deprivation for like overworking, and like so many things where it's like, nah, you really have to have a routine every day.
Yep, you do.
You know, like you have to wake up and like, whatever your vice is in the morning, whether that be tea or coffee. I'm not really a coffee drinker. I don't drink coffee. But like, whether it be tea, coffee, praying, meditation, stretching, like you have to do things for yourself during the day.
Yeah.
And like understanding that how your body feels is how it's gonna show up during the day. So like, if you wake up and don't do nothing and like stretch your legs or move around, then you wonder why you slugging around throughout the whole day. It's like, well, you didn't wake me up. Like you didn't, you know.
Just got out of bed.
You just got out of bed, but you were turning your swag on. So definitely like, you know, like they go hand in hand. Like I truly believe like to perform the best you can at work or like around other people, you need to make sure like you're performing for yourself the best.
Absolutely. You have to like feel your best to show up for other people.
Yeah, 100%.
What is your current relationship with pressure?
My current relationship with pressure is crazy because I feel like I deal with a lot of high pressure things every day.
Yeah.
To the point that it's made me like kind of numb, but it's the little things that send me over the cliff. It's the little nuances.
It's probably like big things that you don't care about,
but
the small
big things that like big things. I'm like, bro, like everything I like, bro, running a business and like having a house and family and everything is like high level pressure, you know. So it's like I've been more conditioned to like dealing with those things better, but like I hate the little things that annoy me bad.
Yeah, I get that. Same.
So I'm still learning with that because, you know, it's like, oh, just don't say nothing or just keep it pushing.
Just keep
and I'm
pushing
like, I wish it was that easy. Like I wish it was just like, you just know when your tongue is just burning and just.
No, I know. 'Cause like, for me, it's literally like the big things. You kind of like psych yourself out in a sense of being like, okay, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. And those small things you just don't even think about because they're small, so you just react really quickly.
Right.
What's inspiring you right now?
These 2 animes I'm watching right now. Nah, seriously. I be so inspired by like things that have nothing to do with what I do.
What you do, like things that people wouldn't even imagine you.
Yeah, because it's like I naturally love anime. Like it's one of the reasons why I have a brand, and I haven't been able to like catch up on like a lot of the new things. And like my brother is 22 now, and like he watches like everything.
Oh my gosh.
So I've been watching this anime called Solo Leveling, and then one called what is it? The Eminence in the Shadows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of my boys put me onto that one.
I know nothing about that. Alrighty.
Yeah. The like storylines and concepts in those 2 was cool. Like Solo Leveling is like just about somebody who keeps leveling up, but like he's mad calculated.
On how
and like he's supposed to be this E rank.
Yeah.
And basically that's like the lowest rank, but he's able to go up to like every level while like let's say you're a B or C, like you normally stay on whatever rank you are. So he has the power, he has the ability to like always get stronger while everybody else is just like stagnant.
Yeah. I mean,
cool.
that would be inspiring to watch. So.
No, yeah, it's fire.
So looking forward to 32, what's one boundary you're setting for yourself as you're entering this new era or this new year?
One boundary I'm setting for myself that's strictly for me is just acting sooner.
Yeah.
I feel like I have and I do spend a lot of time in plan mode. I spend a lot of time in like conceptualizing. And that's just me. Like I'm a dreamer. That's the epitome of like what a Pisces is. It's like dreaming and into like wishing. But for me, it's like I have so many things that I want to execute.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes with, you know, like getting the right people and like asking for help and like getting the right people around to like manage and operate everything. But
you said something important about getting the right people around, because when you're building a business, when you're building a brand, when you're building anything, having those right people around really matters.
100%.
What's a personal goal that has nothing to do with business you have for 32?
Piano classes.
Oh, okay.
So I actually love playing the piano, although I only know how to play like one or 2 songs because I played in high school. You know, just like classes you just gotta take. We had to take some random music class, but like I fell in love with it there, but it never went beyond that. Like
so that's something you're gonna take up this year.
So
I love that.
I'm looking into that.
What's one business goal that scares you but excites you as you're like entering 32?
Business goal that scares me, but it's like there's like, so like Tears in a beautiful space, but in like a not scary space, but like a weird space right now, in the sense of that we just turned 10, and it's like, what does the next 10 years look like?
Yeah.
Where like a lot, like this first 10 year was all learning. Like, you know, like there's no traditional background in fashion or like mentors or anything like that. And we've accomplished a lot, and it's like, it's been a beautiful, inspiring journey, not only to us, but to like our city, to like to the world, like to a lot of people in this world. And I think that for me, it's always scary, like seeing how big something can get, but like that's where I'm at. Like, it's like, God, like how good can, like how far can this go? Cause like I know, like I feel with like, numbers and stuff, like I want Tiara to be one of those brands that's like bringing in like them hundreds of millions of billions a year, and it's like because I know like in the right hands what can be done with that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and like how much it can benefit people, and like how much more opportunities can be created from it, you know, and I think that's just where I'm at, you know, where it's like, I feel like everybody at one point in time has that small time goal of like, oh, let me reach my first mil and things like that, and it's like, it's beautiful, but then you realize like, oh, this shit actually doesn't mean anything.
It's always a new level you can go to, like the anime you're watching.
Literally.
How do you want to approach relationships differently this year?
Definitely more vulnerable.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I haven't been as vulnerable as I could be. There's a lot of different things that play into that.
Yeah.
A lot of things just seem so manufactured to me this time, and it's like, for me, it's easy to read when it's just like
not genuine.
Yeah, and it just makes you just want to shut down. And like I don't like confrontation, and I'm like the older I get, the more I realize how much I don't like it. So it just makes me not say nothing or like shell up, but I don't necessarily want to be like that.
I mean, I think that's good to know or good to see, because I feel like most men aren't vulnerable. And so whether it's friendships, romantic relationships, business relationships, like being vulnerable goes a long way. You know what I'm saying? If 32 had a theme, what would it be?
32 had a theme, what would it be? If 32 had a theme, damn, why am I doing the blank?
Is it like fun, exciting?
No, yeah, but I'm trying to find like the perfect word.
The perfect word?
I'm actually thinking about a music video or a movie that would describe 32. But I would say if I had to like describe it in like words, like what I want 32 to be, like the theme of 32 is like just honest living.
Ooh,
like honest living, and like once again, I think a lot of stuff that I shared, it all goes back to like, you know, being reserved in certain areas, or like pulling back from certain areas, or doing too much in certain areas, where it's like I feel like just doing without thinking and knowing that like that's my honest self.
Yeah.
Where it's like there may be times where I want to dance on social media or some shit, but it's like then I don't dance. It's like, bro, that's not part of my brand or what I do. I'm like making TikToks fucking like with my siblings did, but it's like, bro, like before I even had a brand, like if anybody who knows me from a teenager, I was on a dance team in college. I was the captain of the stroll team. Like it's just so, and that's just like one.
That's just your personality,
but it's just my personality, and it's like I feel like we grow and we get brands and we like do things, and it takes away from our personality sometimes.
We try to be too serious.
Yeah.
Because we want to fit that like brand narrative a little bit.
That too, but I think a part of it is also like we want people to take us serious, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Where it's like in a lot of times like we have to overcompensate to be taken serious. And I think that's where sometimes it like stems from. But it's like, nah, bro, like.
With 32, you're like.
It's like, bro, I just want to be 100% me. If I want to get on Instagram Live and like just talk to people about
you can do that.
I'm gonna just do it. Like everything doesn't have to be like calculated and thought out and like, well, what's the plan here? Or what's the purpose here? It's like, nah, bro.
Like I was seeing something on social media was like, just post your content. Like don't think about it too much. And I feel like you can use that analogy with like life. Like just do it.
Yeah, it's so funny because like obviously like we've both traveled a lot, and there's times like I just want to be like, I just want to make recaps of like where I traveled or things like that, and I'm like, why am I sitting here making a recap video where I travel when I could be working or doing something else? But it's like, enjoy yourself. Like why not? Like what the hell?
It's like I get what you're saying. Like
you
have
know,
fun.
like it just feels like you're doing the wrong thing,
right?
And like you're not.
Yeah.
And I don't know when like having fun or like showing personality started to feel wrong when you have a business or when you are like pursuing professional endeavors.
No, definitely. Just being yourself at 32. What's something new you want to experience at 32?
Skydiving.
Skydiving.
I'm about to say that. You know why? Skydiving has always been like just top of the list.
So you haven't skydived before?
I haven't.
Okay.
I was supposed to a couple of years ago, but it didn't work.
I'm so scared of doing that.
I'm not scared.
Kudos to you. Kudos to you.
But bigger than that, I really want to be a nomad, man. Like since I was a child, I always wanted to live mad places.
So you want to travel a lot this year?
Even if it's not this year, like moving forward, like I know before, you know, like the house, the family, the things come.
Yeah.
Like, I want to live multiple places for like 3 months at a time, book bagging it around wherever. Bro, I feel like that's me. Like, at my core of cores, that is me. It's just freeing.
But you say you want to have $100 million business, but you also want to be a nomad.
Do you see the oxymoron of that? Like, do you see why?
But I believe you can do both.
This is why I be arguing with myself.
Because you're like, wait, I want to be a nomad, but I also want to be locked in.
It's like I want to have mad businesses and start this and do this, and then I also.
But that's
just want to disappear off the face of the earth.
That's a Pisces in you. How do you want to be remembered when you look back on year 32?
Similar to the other question, like I want, like if anybody experiences me in the year of like me being 32, like I just want people to say, bro, like whether he was right or wrong, he was honest.
Yep.
Whether he was right or wrong, he was honest. He said how he felt and that was it, or he did what he felt was right and that's what it was. Because it's like I'm not. Like, obviously, I'm never here to offend anybody, but I'm also not here to please anybody either. Like, I feel like I'm here to, like, do purposeful work and, like, have fun doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and, like, the people that I love and care about, like, be as raw and honest with them as possible. And there's been a lot of great strides, and just to continue that and, like, to not feel the fear of, like, you know, a lot of us say, like, oh, we don't want to hurt nobody else's feelings, and not realizing, like, a lot of bottled up things, like, end up hurting you way more than that one thing could have hurt one person at that time, right? Because if you're bottling up something for like 10 people, those 10 people, those are 10 separate situations. Now you're internalizing all 10 situations when you could have just spread them out like Dragon Balls. Yeah. So it's like.
I agree. Especially being a leader, you understand that. Because so many people report to you. What's the biggest risk you're willing to take this year? Like jumping off a cliff.
Putting myself out there. Like not even like ironically jumping off a cliff is not a big risk for me more than like, you know, like actually I guess speaking with people. Like and not like you know, like it's cool like when I like know you, but like I feel like not even speaking with people, like pitching myself, where it's like Tier has been like, you know, like the work we've done, the work I've done has been beautiful, and like it has allowed a lot of things to get like attracted to us. But it's almost like, you know, you're playing defense, like waiting for like what's the next versus like actively going out there. Whereas like even now, like I can't tell you the last time prior to like this year where like I hit up a like brand like let's work, because you know like we've been blessed enough to do our own work to the point that the brands come to us. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing outreach, especially if you want certain things, because you'll just be sitting there forever waiting for opportunities to probably come or never come, and then say, oh, well, I guess it wasn't meant for me. No, you actually never tried.
You have to really try to get the things that you deserve, right? What's one thing you want to leave behind in 31?
Uncertainty.
I love that. That's it? Oh.
Yeah, I don't want to feel uncertain about people around me. I don't want to feel uncertain about like any situations that I'm in, whether it be work, friendships, relationships, anything. Like, you know, obviously there's always going to be uncertainty in life, but like you got to limit that liability.
I agree. Well, last question. Dang,
I was like,
I didn't even realize. What's one thing you're stepping into fully at 32?
One thing I'm stepping into fully, I feel like this kind of like this other one, is one thing I'm stepping into fully is my personality. Like fully being Nigeria Ealey and all that entails.
And scene. I loved it. This was so good. I feel like you need to put these out on like Pinterest, like ask these questions when you turn 32.
Yo, you know what's so